To order this December 9th, 2025 meeting of the Blair Mayor and City Council. I am Mindy Rump, the Mayor of Blair, and I'm pleased that you have joined us this evening. You'll notice our mics are not working, so if you cannot hear us, please just say, "We can't hear you in the back," and we'll try to speak up, please. This is a public meeting and you are part of the process. I encourage you to participate, ask questions, and share your thoughts. I want you to feel comfortable, and I will do everything that I can to make sure that your voice is heard. We do have several rules to help us proceed with the meeting, and I ask that you please keep them in mind. Please turn off your cell phones. If you need to take a call, step outside the chamber. When you wish to speak, simply raise your hand, and I will acknowledge you, and you can come forward to the podium. Our Deputy Clerk this evening, Angel Clements, will be recording who you are, so please state your name, spell your last name, and state your address. Keep your remarks brief, about 3 minutes, so that others have the opportunity to speak. And please direct your comments to either myself, City Council, or to our city staff. A copy of the Open Meetings Act has been posted by both exits, and we will begin this evening with the roll call of members.
Banner.
Present.
Paulson. Long.
Here.
Wolf.
Here.
Willis.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Fletcher.
Yep.
All members present except Paulson.
Thank you.
I'm kind of here. Here.
Thank you. If you would please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item number 4, approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Item number 5, consider resolution number 2025-141, approving the mayoral appointment of Joshua Hathaway as Sergeant for the Blair Police Department. Chief?
Mayor and Council, Jeremy Kinsey, Chief of Police. Standing up here with me is right now Detective Josh Hathaway. I know you all know this, but we concluded a really rigorous police sergeant testing process here in the last month. And I'll say that every one of our candidates, we had 3 internal candidates that tested for sergeant. They were pushed, they were tested. And they all did fabulous. So know that we've got a good bullpen of future leaders at the Blair Police Department. But I only can pick one, and my recommendation to Mayor Rump was Detective Hathaway for the promotion to the position of police sergeant.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions for Chief?
Nope.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from the public? Having none, please report committee. Did you guys meet on this at all? Nope. Okay.
I will introduce resolution number 2025-141.
Resolution number 2025-141 was introduced by Councilmember Willis. Was introduced by Councilmember Willis, approving the mayoral appointment of Joshua Hathaway as Sergeant for the Blair Police Department.
Make a motion to adopt resolution number 2025-141 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 2025-141. Please register your vote. Did it come up?
No, I guess.
Okay, here you go. All members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Congratulations. Be awarded
Yes,
Yep.
ma'am. The first council meeting in January, we're gonna have a formal swearing-in ceremony for Sergeant Hathaway.
Wonderful, very good. Congratulations.
Josh.
Item number 6. Consider approval of the administrative officers to the Blair Volunteer Fire Department for a 1-year term as follows. President Amy Clausen, Vice President Ernie Brenice, Secretary Brenda Jenny, Treasurer Steve Howard, and Sergeant at Arms Kent Nicholson. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Staff, Fire Chief Joe Leonard. Here tonight, after our December meeting, business meeting, the membership voted for a 1-year term for the above people that you had just mentioned. Just here to get approval from the City Council to appoint those people for a 1-year term for the 2026 year.
Thank you. Any questions for Chief? Nope. Any comments from the public? Having none, how would the council like to proceed?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the administrative officers for the Blair Volunteer Fire Department for 1-year term as voted on by the members of the Blair Volunteer Fire Department. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the administrative officers for the Blair Volunteer Fire Department. Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye.
Motion passes.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you,
Thank
Chief.
Thank you, Raj.
Item number 7, consider resolution 2025-142, approving mayoral appointments to the following city committees and boards. To the Planning Commission, Jim Pounds, Melanie Kading, and Rich Zielinski. To the Park Board, Sarah Bakey and Corey Hafer. To the Board of Adjustment, Dave Caslin and Carl Rennerfelt. To the Housing Authority, Erica Chada. To the LB 840 Committee, Brett Jacobitz and Craig Houghton. To the Board of Appeals, Nate Huber. And for the licensing board, Phil Green, CJ Heaton, and Ethan Rowe. Any comments from the public? Having none?
I'll introduce resolution 2025-142.
Resolution number 2025-142 was introduced by Councilmember Letcher, approving mayoral appointments to the following city committees and boards. Planning Commission, 3-year term. Park, Recreation, and Cemetery Board, 3-year term. Board of Adjustments, 3-year term. Housing Authority, 5-year term. Board of Appeals, 5-year term. License Board, 1-year term. And LB 840 Review Committee, 3-year term.
Motion to adopt resolution 2025-142 is presented.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 2025-142. Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Congratulations to all of those individuals, and I will say my annual speech. This includes the administrative officers to the Blair Volunteer Fire Department, as well as these boards and committees. Volunteerism is not taken lightly by me, nor should it be by anyone. As you heard all of these terms, some of them are quite lengthy. And when you volunteer in your community, you are deciding how you want your community to be, and I really do appreciate and applaud them for their dedication and their efforts. Thank you. Item number 8, I'll open a public hearing to consider a rezone application submitted by Brad Anderson and Jane Jaworski Anderson, 947 Skyline Drive in Blair, Nebraska, to rezone tax lot 142 in section 14, township 18 north, range 11 east of the 6 p.m., city of Blair, Washington County, Nebraska, from residential low density to transitional ag district to match neighboring zoning and enable outbuilding expansion. Hello, how are you, Mr. Byerman?
Oh, just fine, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mayor. This will be the first of 5 planning and zoning items on the agenda tonight. The first one is simple road zone going from RL to TA. The Andersons' property is on the edge of Blair, just inside of our new city limits. It was part of the city limits before. City limits did expand farther away to the west. Again, currently zoned RL, low density. Request is for transitional ag. Property is 10.67 acres, which meets the minimum size for transitional ag. Meets all of the setbacks for TA district. And the parcel was rezoned to RL when it became part of the city in Blair, city of Blair in 2001. At that time, the RL district was the only district that was available once you became part of the city. Now we have both TA and RL and RE, not TA, but we have TA and RE residential estates. Single-family requirements in RL is at the top there. Not much other than that, it is single-family is allowed. In TA, single-family is one of the four principal structures or principal areas to allow into there, so they sort of match on those areas. This shows the property, a little bit down the hill, that would be Skyline Drive. This would be the new City of Blair corporate boundary. Again, current land use map is located now, they are surrounded by TA on each side and RL here. Future land use map does mention residential. And with that, any questions for the rezone application?
Part of the application says matching neighboring zoning, which makes
Yep.
sense, and enable outbuilding expansion.
Yes, under RL, depending on the size of your lots, you can only have an accessory structure outbuilding up to X amount of square feet. When you get to ag and traditional ag, it expands more, so you can have a larger building if you need or want.
Okay, so is there any current plan by the property owners to?
That would be a question for the property owner, we didn't go into that part.
Okay.
Would the applicant like to go forward?
Yes, that's me. Brad Anderson, 947 Skyline Drive, Andersen. So yes, I started looking at this after the annexation around me happened, right? This, as the applicant, or Jeff did a great job. These weren't options for me when we came in 2011. The least restricted we could do was RL. And then John Stewart and I went round and round and round in a bunch of different planning commissions and council meetings on what the allowable square footage of accessory structure would be appropriate. And so right now it's at the maximum allowed, and my Facebook Marketplace addiction has one more trailer that doesn't fit in it. So I'd like to add a little bit on, and this is the right way to go to match the zoning neighboring. When the neighbors go into RE or some other zoning in the future, we'll go along willingly, because this is the last construction project I hope to do. Any other questions?
Approximately how much larger of a structure do you want to build?
So right now it's 40 by 80, and we're looking to add on another 38 feet to one end. And you can't see my house from the street, you can't see that building from my house, so the only people that can see the building live completely across the valley, across the river.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Any comments from the public? Having none, I will close the public hearing.
I'll introduce ordinance number 2598.
An ordinance rezoning tax lot 142 in section 14, township 18 north, range 11, east of the 6 p.m., city of Blair, Washington County, Nebraska, from RL residential low density district to TA transitional agriculture district, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and ordering the ordinance published in pamphlet form.
I move the statutory rule regarding reading on 3 different days be suspended for consideration of said ordinance.
Second. Question.
The question before the council is, shall the statutory rule requiring reading on 3 different days be suspended? Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye. An ordinance rezoning tax lot 142 in section 14, township 18 north, range east of the 6 p.m., city of Blair, Washington County, Nebraska, from RL residential low density district to TA transitional agriculture district, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and ordering the ordinance published in pamphlet form.
I move for final passage of ordinance number 2598.
Second. Question.
The question now before the council is, shall ordinance number 2598 be passed and adopted? Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye.
I declare ordinance number 2598 duly adopted.
Thank you, guys.
You don't want to stay?
Oh, no, you guys got to need some seats.
Okay, okay. You guys can go forward, there's a couple seats It's open here if you want. We don't bite, I promise.
It's gonna be a long evening.
Item number 9, I'll open a public hearing to consider a replat application submitted by Ken Funk, 2212 Fieldcrest Drive in Blair, Nebraska, and Lucas Jones, 2246 Fieldcrest Drive, Blair, Nebraska, for lots 91, 92, and 93, Deerfield replat 3, a replat of lots 18, 87, 88, and 89. Deerfield replat 2, a platted subdivision in the city of Blair, Washington County, Nebraska.
Thank you. Again, Jeff Fireman, Community Development Director. I don't know if I said that earlier. Our next item on the agenda is a simple replat up in Deerfield, up here in the north part of the city. By Ken Funk, Lucas Jones. Right now, it's currently zoned RM. There will be no change in the zoning district. They are requesting to take 4 lots and replat them into 3 lots. 2 lots already have existing homes. They will gain a little bit of width on each side. The remainder becomes the 3rd lot. The existing homes continue to meet the required setbacks after replat. Planning Commission recommended approval 5-0. This shows the 4 lots. We have Fieldcrest Drive here, Mr. Lucas, Mr. Funk. This is the 4 lots we're talking about right at this moment. After the replat, if approved, it will take 1 lot for Mr. Funk, another for Mr. Lucas, and this 3rd becomes its own lot with its own tax number that is for sale and will be sold shortly after the titles are issued. This shows a little bit of the plat. Lot 92, 17,000 square feet. 91 is 10. 93 is almost 13,000. All setbacks are still the same. New lots, new houses, any structures on that will follow the RM setbacks. And then here is, of course, the final replat 3 of replat 2. Any questions for staff?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Does council have any questions of the applicants? None? Okay, then I will close the public hearing.
I'll introduce resolution 2025-143.
Resolution number 2025-143 was introduced by Councilmember Wolf, approving a replat application for lots 91, 92, and 93 in Deerfield replat 3, City of Blair, Washington County, submitted by Ken Funk and Lucas Jones.
Motion to adopt resolution 2025-143 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 2025-143. Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Item number 10, I'll open a public hearing to consider a conditional use permit renewal application submitted by MII Blair LLC, Jeff McGregor, agent 11750 Stonegate Circle, Omaha, Nebraska, for storage indoor and outdoor to an existing CUP for storage mini on tax lot 257 in section 7, township 18 north, range 12 east of the 6 p.m., Washington County, Nebraska, for the life of the improvements, otherwise known as 240 East Highway 30. Is this a renewal?
This is not a renewal.
Okay.
That would be a typo.
Was it published as a renewal?
It was.
Okay.
But we feel that it still gets the idea of still the CUP out there. There was some debate on whether it was a renewal or not because there was an existing, but it is not affecting the first original CUP in there.
All right.
So,
Thank you.
yes. So right now, the current zoning along 240 East, East Highway 30 is ACH. 2016, the current was for the life of the storage structures, and this CUP was the original one that had storage mini. Since then, if you recall, on ACH, if you wanted to have outdoor storage added to any sort of CUP, you could not, because it was not allowed in the rules at all. That was changed to allow, if you have outdoor storage and you're along the highway, you can add that to your conditional use permit, since outdoor storage still needed a conditional use permit. So right now, we adding number 20, storage indoor and outdoor, talks about it has to be paved within the 100-foot right-of-way or 500 feet from the primary. And this is the description of what storage indoor, outdoor is. And either inside the building, you guys can read that. All items behind a 6-foot fence. We did recommend stipulations, only recreational vehicles, trailers, and boat trailer combination of cars allowed. No broken down or inoperable vehicles, boats or trailers. No tarps allowed. Any covers must be commercially designed. And they are going to plant trees according to the submitted plans of the applicant. I believe it was in your packet was a rather extensive list of Mr. McGregor and what he was going to do. And then, of course, we recommend also to the applicant's operation manual be followed. These are an example of the trees he wants to plant. Obviously, they won't be that big from the start. Planning Commission recommend approval with stipulations, 5-0. This shows the north side of Highway 30, and this shows what the present place looks like. This area here is what he's asking for outdoor storage. That is under high power tension lines, which means he cannot have a structure under that, but he can have like concrete pads or something like that, which is why he's asking. I believe back a while ago, he came in and asked for permission to do outdoor storage by a variance, yes. And the variance was voted down because we know that variances aren't great things to get through. If you need something passed, you should do it differently. So he was turned down for the variance. Now, that that's part of the actual CUP, he's come back to ask for this addition to the as a new CUP for outdoor storage. This shows the zoning, RML to the north, ACH, AMH, heavy industrial to the southeast. We have a picture from Highway 30 showing the main area of lockbox, front gates. This is looking back toward the northeast, showing the empty field. You can see the power lines up above. With that, any questions for staff?
Thank you. Do you have any comments from the public? I think the applicant would like to speak. Thank you.
Hi, Jeff McGregor, McGregor, 11750 Stonegate Circle, Omaha, Nebraska. Jeff did a great job of explaining what we're looking to do. We're basically looking to pave this area, highlighted in red, at approximately 43 parking stalls paved for various vehicles to be stored. I did put together a fairly detailed list of what we would allow to store for our lease agreement that we enter into with our customers. But they're operable licensed vehicles, boats, campers, mobile homes, trailers, all which must be in good working condition with the tires inflated. We prohibit the storage of any recycling trucks, vehicles that are dismantled, vehicle parts. We prohibit the storage of garbage, waste, construction material, along with numerous of other types of construction materials in greater explanation. And we would plant 19 spruces in that area, highlighted in the grass area on the outside of the fence line. I'm here if you have any questions, and I appreciate your consideration.
Well, I've been hoping that was going to be the Blair outdoor grass tennis courts. Progress.
I appreciate your extensive list of items that are not allowed. I think it's when it's spelled out that accurately, you shouldn't have any issues. I appreciate that. Do you have any other comments from the public? Do you have any comments in writing?
There are none.
Thank you. I will close the public hearing.
Motion to approve conditional use permit for MII Blair LLC, Jeff McGregor, for rental and lease establishments for outside storage in compliance with the application's original plan for the light be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve conditional use permit for MII Blair LLC for outside storage. Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Item number 11, I'll open public hearing to consider a rezone application by the City of Blair to rezone tax lot A created by an administrative lot line adjustment of tax lots 264 and 265 in Section 7, Township 18 North, Range 12, east of the 6 PM, Lawrence County, Nebraska, from agricultural, heavy industrial, and manufacturing district to agricultural highway commercial district. Mr. Byron.
Thank you. So the rezone is initiated by the city after Mr. McGregor came to us with plans to do a tax lot line adjustment on 2 tax lots owned by the Hanson Tree Farm. If it turned out that he would buy one of those, we looked at this as being a change in kind of the use and everything. So the city initiated a rezone on only the 1 tax lot to work with the future land use map. You see the property here is on the East Highway 30. The rezone tax lot 264 from to ACH from the heavy industrial. Planning Commission recommended approval 4-1. So what we're looking at now is they did apply and were granted a tax lot line adjustment. And that is a method of taking 2 lots, really just taking the interior lot line. As long as they're 2 consecutive lots, nothing changes on the exterior boundaries. Tax lots do not change. What you do have though is a change in the boundaries. This is allowed by our zoning book. Again, no new tax lots are created. What we went from, or what they went from, was 1 lot here and then 2nd lot here. Now, after the tax lot line adjustment, you have outlot A or tax lot A, former 264, and then 265, the remainder here. They're using a shared drive. There is an easement in place on the plat. This was the original current land use map. You can see that this new lot is heavy industrial, and this other lots remain heavy industrial also. Again, with the future land use map, which shows just a strip, and these strips aren't made exactly precise. When the future land use map was being put together, it was just a strip on each side, usually of a highway, saying that this is what we want, or what the city wants to see in the future as highway commercial. So with that, we just took the 1 lot only. We're not asking for both lots to be rezoned, just tax outlot A. And go back to here. There we go. Any questions for staff on this? There are, again, transmission lines, pipelines. I'm not sure if they're working out, but there are easements. It's kind of a tough lot to work with, but it has been divided. New interior lines have been changed. Any questions for staff on this?
Thank you. Any comments from the public?
Joe Peleska, P-E-L-E-S-K-A, 2023 North Ridge Circle. The vote was 4-1, I'm the 1. I don't think, and you might want to talk to city council, because to me it looks a lot like spot zoning. If you're gonna take it all now. Don't do a piece and then change something down the road. Because right now what he wants to do is, and you'll be voting on that later, is put in storage units on this side, and then heavy industrial, it can be put in without a conditional use permit. Now you're gonna force him to get a conditional use permit to do something that he can do with the way it's zoned right now. That's my 2 cents. I'm out.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Okay, I will close the public hearing. Council discussion?
We met with Mr. McGregor a month ago,
Yeah.
and he showed us what he wanted to do and how he wants to do it. Would you like to tell everybody else what your plans are with that?
Sure. Segment at the end of number 9.
That will be, I mean, that'll, I closed the public hearing, so,
Already now.
so I'm sorry.
It's a little outside of this
Number 12.
agenda item.
Do the next item.
It's more on the next agenda item.
That'll work.
Sorry. Yeah, this is just an application by the city of Blair to rezone the tax lot.
I'd like to introduce ordinance number 2599.
An ordinance rezoning tax lot A created by an administrative law lot line adjustment of tax lots 264 and 265 in Section 7, Township 18 North, Range 12, east of the 6 p.m., Washington County, Nebraska, from AMH Agricultural, Heavy Industrial, and Manufacturing District to ACH Agricultural, Highway, Commercial District, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and ordering the ordinance published in pamphlet form.
I move the statutory rule regarding reading on 3 different days be suspended for consideration of said ordinance.
Second.
Question?
A question before the council is, shall the statutory rule requiring reading on 3 different days be suspended? Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye.
I move the final passage of ordinance 2599.
Second.
She has to read the ordinance.
An ordinance rezoning tax lot A created by an administrative lot line adjustment of tax lots 264 and 265 in Section 7, Township 18 North, Range 12, east of the 6 p.m., Washington County, Nebraska, from AMH Agricultural, Heavy Industrial, and Manufacturing District to ACH Agricultural, Highway, Commercial District, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and ordering the ordinance be published in pamphlet form.
I move adopt ordinance 2599 as presented.
Second.
Question?
The question before the council is, shall ordinance number 2599 be passed and adopted on its final passage? Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye.
I declare ordinance number 2599 duly adopted. Item number 12, I'll open a public hearing to consider a conditional use permit renewal application. Again, this is probably not a renewal, right? Submitted by MII Blair, LLC, Jeff McGregor, at 11750 Stonegate Circle, Omaha, Nebraska, for storage units, mini and storage indoor and outdoor on tax lot A in Section 7, Township 18 North, Range 12, east of the 6 p.m., Washington County, Nebraska, for the life of the improvements, otherwise known as 413 North Industrial Road. Mr. Byron.
Yes, again, I do want to apologize. I ended up having 1 typo with 2 in there. Again, I do not believe this changes the intent of it is a conditional use permit request. Try not to let this happen again, I apologize.
Thank you.
This conditional use permit is actually across the street from Lockbox, Mr. McGregor's other area. This time, now it's now been changed, the zoning's been changed to ACH. We know that outdoor storage not only requires a CUP, but whether or not, you also need an outdoor or a CUP for storage units mini. So right now we have here the 2 definitions of storage units mini, you can read those, and then of course storage units indoor and outdoor. This would be for the ACH lot, revised tax lot 264 only. You should have received a packet in explaining all things he wants to do with his stipulations. Much like north of Highway 30, we have almost the same stipulations. Tarps, planting trees according to plans, follow the applicant's manual. Planning Commission did recommend approval of these stipulations 4-1. Now we're showing tax lot 8, revised tax lot A of 264. The entrance will be here. In your packet, Mr. McGregor did have ideas of what the layout would look like inside. This shows an entrance off of North Industrial Road, showing it's going into his lot on the right. Again, his lot's now tax lot A that way. And what this would look like also has been revised, where his lot would be right here, and this is where the CUP for the 2 storage units would be on. Again, another shot of the front, and this is from the intersection of Highway 30 and North Industrial Road, showing the area up in here. And then last, here is just a preliminary plat or plot from Mr. McGregor showing where he wants to put everything. And he is here tonight, I'm sure he'll want to speak, so I will leave this one up. With that, any questions for staff on this conditional use permit request?
Those trees on 30 and Industrial in the right of way?
They are in the right of way. So that would be up to the state for them to be removed, or if the state want to remove them, they probably wouldn't ask the city of Blair anyway, they would just do it. That being said, they've been there a long time, but I cannot make any guarantees how long they'll stay there.
Thanks.
The applicant like to come forward?
Hello again, Jeff McGregor, MCGREGOR, 1750 Stonegate Circle. Yes, we're looking to expand our storage facility on the north side of the highway to the south side of the highway. Looking to expand approximately 30,000 square feet of enclosed and historic buildings. Exact same finish and quality as the north side, same color style. This particular lot is very screened from the highway with the tree cover as well as the elevated topography of the lot as well. We would operate this as a remote facility and have a main leasing office where it currently is on the other side of the highway. The facility would be fully fenced, electronic gate, and keypad access along with security cameras. Same as we do on the other side of the highway. The outdoor storage would be under the same restrictions that we recently discussed in the two lots ago. It would all be operable licensed vehicles and all the restrictions as previously noted. I'm here if you have any questions, but we now have the outdoor storage use on the other side of the highway. It's also good to note that Armor Storage has the same zoning as us. I guess just would be east a little bit of this particular lot, highway commercial zoning, they also do outdoor storage as well. And as the Petromart gas station does long-term storage of RV tractor trailers as well. I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you for your consideration.
Any other comments from the public? Do we have any comments already?
There are none.
Thank you. I will close public hearing. How would council like to proceed?
Propose to approve a conditional use permit for MII Blair LLC, Jeff McGregor for indoor and outdoor storage for the life of the improvements. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve a conditional use permit for MII Blair LLC for indoor and outdoor storage. Please register your vote.
All members present, voting aye.
Motion passes. Item number 13. Open a public hearing to consider the workforce housing tax increment financing incentive plan. Good evening, Mr. Green.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, Phil Green, City Administrator. What you have before you tonight on item 13 and 14 end up being the same exact plan. The way state statute lays this out is you're required to have a public hearing first before you act on the actual item. So I'm going to introduce, kind of talk a little bit about what we're talking about tonight on this particular thing. Then we'll turn it over to any public comment that we may have. Then the mayor will close the public hearing, and then you'll actually act on this. Aaron, if you want to bring up the incentive plan, that way the audience can kind of follow along as well. So this deals with, and it's kind of a complicated long phrase, workforce housing TIF, okay? So it's tax increment financing. It's not a new tax. It's the use of incremental tax after development kicks in, but it's a special kind of authorized use of TIF, and it's for workforce housing, for the development of workforce housing. Normally with TIF projects, there are limited uses that have kind of a public good that can be reimbursable by TIF. When it comes to workforce housing, though, all of the costs are eligible because of the intent. The intent of workforce housing TIF is to reduce the ultimate cost for that housing for the eventual buyer. It's not extra cash into the pocket of the developer or the builder. It's to reduce the cost so that it's at a lower, more affordable cost for the recipient. Several things are required in order for the city to be able to offer workforce housing TIF. What you're looking at tonight, and the public comment will be about the plan. This is not an individual request, though. In a sense, think of this as the policy, the workforce housing TIF policy for the city. Applicants in the future then will come with an actual request for a TIF project, just as they come for a standard TIF project today. Again, in the first paragraph here, main paragraph, 4 things are laid out that are required. Number 1, there has to have been a housing study done for the community within the last 60 months or 5 years. That was done previously. We are planning right now to work with Gateway Development Corporation and the Chamber to have a housing study done again sometime in 2026. And that will again then continue to extend that down the road. Number 2, there has to be an incentive plan put together. That's the document you're looking at tonight, so that satisfies number 2. Number 3, hold the public hearing, so we're doing right now. And then number 4 will be the next agenda item, which is the actual vote on that, if you deem that this is appropriate for the community of Blair. And again, the whole emphasis is to make workforce housing affordable. There are several definitions that are at the bottom of this first page when it talks about workforce housing. It's any kind of housing that meets the needs of today's working families, housing that's attractive to new residents and might encourage them to come and locate in your community. C is really the one that people tend to focus on, and that is the state has set certain dollar values for that ultimate purchaser of the property. And right now, the state considers anything at $340,000 or less as a single-family home to be eligible or qualify for that workforce housing. That number is increased by the state every year, and so this $340,000 is the one current as of May 16th of this current year. It's also eligible though for apartment buildings and individual units then, and so the ultimate cost for that structure divided by the number of units, you can't have any more than $250,000 per unit for apartment complexes. But you'll notice on the second page, D and C, or D and E here, that there's other uses that also potentially can qualify for workforce housing TIF. Number 1, and I think the D is kind of interesting, and you have to read it carefully. It's owner-occupied and rental housing units for which the cost to substantially rehabilitate exceeds 50% of the unit's assessed value. Basically, think of it as an older existing structure or home that's either worn down enough or hasn't been modernized enough that the expense of modernizing it to the standard where it might be attractive on the market today exceeds 50% of its actual value on the market today. When that is true, obviously there's market forces that would hinder that from being refurbished. This, though, would allow TIF, which would be the incremental value once those improvements are made, and therefore theoretically the value of that structure goes up once it's assessed by the county assessor, to be able to capture that and then refund that back to the individual that actually did that development in the first place. And so it's a great way to kind of see rehabbing of some existing structures. And then you'll see the mayor's favorite, upper story housing, primarily in downtown areas. And so that would qualify for some of these as well, which really is important because for many of these older structures, the biggest challenge in today's modern fire safety rules is a second exit out of that upstairs area. And just the cost of putting in that second stairway can be substantial. Workforce housing TIF can be used to help reduce some of those costs. I'm not going to bore you with the details of the rest of the plan, but what it kind of goes into is the fact that what's unique about workforce housing TIF is that when applications come forward, you as the council, and then you acting as the community development agency, have the ability to dig into a lot more financial details of ultimately what's being looked at, because of the fact that you're ultimately after an affordable housing unit for families here in the Blair area. And so I anticipate if we see programs going forward, that staff will take a lot more time with the individual developers digging into what their ultimate cost expectations are, what's an appropriate profit level for them to be able to get at. There's language in here that talks about that again, this is not intended to just be extra cash benefit or extra profit for the developer. It's all about reducing the cost of the structure. The last thing I want to emphasize talks a little bit on page 4, if you look down at the very top of page 4, and that is that there's a lot of discretion given to the council both in the sense of the particular type of workforce housing, whether you feel like single-family housing really is the focus, that we have enough market-generated apartment complexes being built, and therefore we don't really want to incentivize apartments, we want to incentivize single-family homes, or we want to begin to incentivize even more rehab of existing structures. You have the ability to kind of tweak what those numbers look like and be selective without being declared arbitrary. And then it also goes on and talks about the fact that you can be specific when it comes to geographic areas. And so you have the ability to say, you know, this is a part of town that kind of like redevelopment in general really needs to be focused on and should receive the bulk of these benefits. Other parts of town that maybe aren't as impacted by not having some newer housing or refurbished housing may not qualify then, and that discretion is really going to be ultimately up to you. So any questions that you have for me? Otherwise, again, we'll open up this public hearing to the rest of the crowd.
I do, real quick. I think I know the answer. So this workforce tip does not affect our normal tip percentage, right? Allowable by the city.
Again,
I mean,
if I think I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about, there's not a TIF restriction, there's a redevelopment district restriction. And so, in order for TIF to be able at all, it has to be in a redevelopment district or redevelopment area, which has already been declared blighted and substandard. There's a 35% limit on that for cities of the first class. So this doesn't affect that at all, but it still has to be in one of those areas. It has to be in a blighted and substandard area.
So it'd be like a tip and a tip.
Correct. It's basically, yeah, it's TIF that qualifies, but instead of only some of the items being able to be eligible for reimbursement, every expense that goes into it is eligible, but eligible because it's intended to reduce the ultimate price for that structure. So in a sense, what we'll have to do is we'll work very closely with the developer. He's going to have to cap what he expects to make off of this particular unit, and then every dollar that we can save by reimbursing with TIF drops that value that he ultimately is going to sell that property for.
Thank you.
Good question. Anything else? All right, so the next item after this one is going to be you voting on it. I won't get back up unless you have any further questions based on, you know, comments that were made by the public. So, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from the public?
Good evening, Councilman and Mayor. My name is Betsy Anderson, Anderson, 1235 Pinewood Drive. Couple questions about the process. So the city's going to have to take out bonds to support the tax incremental funding, is that correct?
No, normally those are done by the developer. So there are times where if there's public improvements involved, maybe the city would get involved in doing that. So there may be a new area that would require a sewer main or a water main to be extended, and the council may decide to do that. But normally it's the individual builder who borrows the money. The bond is really their issue. If for some reason, therefore, the value isn't high enough to bring in enough TIF revenue over those 15 years, that would be their loss, not the city's loss.
Okay, because my question is, obviously the city does probably have a limit on how much money we can borrow without our credit rating going down.
Correct.
And I was wondering how this tax incremental funding is going to affect the bonds.
Shouldn't impact that at all, because really those bonds are not ours, they're the private developers.
Okay, thank you. How many TIF projects do you think we're going to be having?
Yeah, it's really hard to say right now. We have had inquiries whether we've approved a plan or not.
Okay, so it could be, well, I don't want to say unlimited, because obviously there should be a threshold, or not.
Yeah, again, it's really up to the council to determine ultimately, you know, as they are approving each of the individual projects, whether they feel like it warrants and meets the needs of the community.
Okay. Tax incremental funding, maybe about within the last 5 years, we took a vote, and it was actually increased to 20 years. Why are you deciding it's only 15 years that we're going to take advantage of it instead of 20 years?
Yeah, slightly different issues. Tax increment financing is set up by the state and mandated to be 15 years. I think what you're referring to is the assessments And so we're able to lengthen out our assessments through that housing advisory committee that we did. And that can go all the way up to 20 years, which is where the 20-year thing came in. So it's not TIF, that's a regular assessment, which is slightly different.
Will this go through the planning commission before it comes to the council, or does it come
It
directly?
does go through the planning commission as well as that community development agency like a regular TIF project does.
Hang on one second, let me see if I have other questions. Is it possible that when we're making this resolution, that we could make it for a shorter period of time rather than unlimited? In other words, it's a trial and error to see if it's going to work, where it might sunset, or is that not feasible? I'm just thinking, we're planning 15 years into the future. When we have a business, very few of us have a business where we're gonna plan maybe 5 years, maybe we can look 10 years into the future, but there's so many things changing at the federal government, at the state government, and how taxing is done on all levels, that to have something be just totally unlimited into the future could potentially cause us some issues.
Yeah, don't think of it as totally unlimited. In fact, that page 4 that we looked at that showed the discretion specifically says just because someone applies doesn't mean that they're able to get workforce housing TIF. So it really is going to be up to the council at that time to determine whether it's appropriate or not.
Okay.
And Mr. Green, didn't you also say it's going to be limited anyway to it's got to be in a blight, area that's been declared blight?
Correct. Yeah, so it's limited by location, can be limited even more by location. If the council says that's not a part of town where we feel like this is necessary, you can limit it by the use, you know. So there's lots of ways to decide in the future, a future council to decide that a particular request is not warranted.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Anderson.
Any other comments from the public? Did we have any comments in writing?
There were none.
Thank you. Close the public hearing. Item number 14, consider resolution 2025-144, approving the use of workforce housing tax increment financing incentive plan. Judiciary and real estate, did you guys meet on this?
We did. Phil and Katie went through it with us, and it makes sense. It's a good tool that we can use. If, we get developers that want to come up here and talk to us about it, then we can sit down and talk about individual things. So, if there's not any questions, I'd like to introduce resolution 2025-144.
Resolution number 2025-144 was introduced by Councilmember Heifel, approving the use of workforce housing tax increment financing incentive plan.
I'd like to move and adopt resolution 2025-144 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to adopt resolution number 2025-144. Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Item number 15, open public hearing for the purpose of acquisition of private property by good faith negotiations or eminent domain for public purposes associated with the City of Blair Water Tower Construction Project involving a portion of parcel number 8900888714 located at 9345 County Road P33 in Washington County, Nebraska. Mr. Green.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to get up here before Katie has an opportunity to talk. This potentially can be somewhat of a controversial issue. As you know, as a council, we've been talking for several years about continuing to work with the Rural Water District, and especially Rural Water District number 2, and their need for water expansion, and therefore the city participating with them to build a water tower that would be located someplace south of town. The location of that tower is going to be very critical because they're designed to be basically parallel with the existing water tower. And so as the water rate, level rises or falls, they would rise and fall in equal ways between those two different towers. And so the elevation of that tower is important, and the location is important where it would tie into that Rural Water District number 2. Again, I'll allow Katie to go into the details of this, but we have taken some time to talk to various landowners to see if there were any that were willing sellers, and so far we've not found any that were willing. So that kind of puts us in a unique situation to have to select one site and go forward with it. What I want to discuss to you tonight is that you don't have to make this decision tonight. Even though you've looked at it, you've looked at the engineer's recommendation, what we prepared for you tonight is the number one location based on the engineer's recommendation. After you hear any comments that may be made by the public, you'll have the opportunity, if you want to table this, to rethink about the location. Again, you may weigh in balances that say, well, that this is, from the engineer's perspective, the easiest and simplest to build on, but maybe you would prefer to pick a site that's still feasible. Maybe it's a little harder to access, maybe it would cost a little bit more to have some piping run to it, but maybe it's property that's more out of the way, not as easily noticed. Obviously, it's a tower, you're going to notice it in the general area, but may not be immediately in somebody's backyard, or based on just property owners and impact on property owners. So I wanted you to know that we're not in a rush to get this done necessarily tonight. Probably needs to be done in the next month or two. But if you wanted to table it tonight, continue to think about it, you have the right to be able to do that. And I really want to stress that whatever site ultimately is selected, we want to negotiate fairly and faithfully with that current landowner. We'd like to know what their ultimate long-term plans are. We'll try to work around those plans as best we can, but this ends up being a public good that ultimately is for the benefit of not really just the city of Blair, but even the region, to be able to have a good, accessible water. So, Kate, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So before you tonight, we have a public hearing to discuss something that is very important for all of our water customers, and it's a new water tower. As you can see based on the screen, we looked at multiple sites. We looked at 7 different sites out in the county, and ultimately, based on a review by an engineer at HDR, looking at cost, location, elevation, the way that it would function with our current water tower, Site A was determined to be the best site in terms of overall cost and all of the other factors that were considered. And that was within that packet that was in the memo that was presented. So you can look at everything that we did, and I encourage the public to go out to Spark so they can see that as well, so they can see exactly what was used to make this determination. As Mr. Green said, we absolutely do not have to make this decision tonight. But moving forward, when a decision is made and we pass the resolution, it means that we are entering into the potential to go into the eminent domain process. We are required to go into good faith negotiations with the property owner, attempt to come to a resolution, but if we do not, we are granted the ability by state statute to proceed with eminent domain and have the court determine what a good price for the property would be. The property owner could appeal that, and it could take a considerable amount of time, but know that we are working very hard to ensure the property owner, whoever it may be in the future, receives a fair price for this property, as we know that it's a big ask to have them give up property for a water tower. Do you have any questions regarding this process?
I think so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments from the public?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name's Mike Hazer, H-E-S-E-R. I'm at 9208 County Road P33. On that map that they had up, I'm right below, my house is right below the P33 address. So my wife and I purchased our property. We purchased 10 acres 11 years ago. We both grew up, lived in Omaha, wanted to get out of the big city, wanted to come to the country, have room, great views, and quiet, peace and quiet. So if that water tower is placed in area A where you're proposing it, the one biggest portion of what attracted us to coming to Blair is the views, is going to be, in my opinion, completely shot. That is going to affect my property value. When my wife and I sit out on the front porch in the evening, we're going to sit there and look at this thing sticking up, lit up like a Christmas tree, and it's just not going to be very appealing. You know, we've been there, we built our house in 2015, and our property assessment value has just skyrocketed over every year. It just continues to go up. And I can't help but believe that my property value is gonna drop drastically, because had that water tower been there when we bought that property, I would not have bought that property to build there. So to me, it's just, we've gotta find an alternate, I mean, and I know it's gonna impact somebody at some point, no matter where you put it, but for me personally, and that's obviously my biggest concern, I can't tolerate having it there. And I guess I would, talk to you, or just as a rhetorical question, I'm sure that none of you would wanna have that thing sitting out the front of your house either. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Other comments from the public?
Hello, council members. My name is Debbie Frederick, and I live at 9348 County Road P35.
Can you spell your last name for me?
F-R-E-D-E-R-I-C-K.
Thank you.
And I'm F on the map, and no one has ever talked to me about my property being a potential site. And I totally agree what this gentleman said. I've lived there for going on 28 years. I don't want a water tower in my front yard. I intend to live there until I die. And I don't think any of you, as he said, want a water tower in your front yard. So, good faith communication, it didn't happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public?
Mayor, council people. My name is Steve Anderson, Carla Anderson. We own the property that is in between A and D that you see on, it's just across the County Road P33 from A there. And our property is about 600, from our view, from our house is 600 foot.
Mr. Anderson, would you state your address and spell your last
The
name?
address, my name is Steve Anderson. The last name is Anderson, S-E-N.
Thank you.
Carla is C-A-R-L-A.
Okay, and your address?
And the address is 9477 County Road P35.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're located, we have the same concerns. We bought the property 25 years ago. It was pasture land. Developed all the trees on the property, built, and we were from residential or urban farm growth families. We bought the land after 25 years living in town. We did this specifically for this reason. So having the tower there, the other thing that we was told when we had previous discussions on it was going to be maybe 100 foot tall. We did some research. We found out the tower that was out there was 165 along P33, 65 foot diameter, has lights all over it. You can see it clear from Elkhorn when you drive out of the town, so it's visible. So property value is a big concern that we have. The light that could come off of the lighting, and if there's going to be advertisement on it, big concern for that. And we have a well that's on the property. We don't need the water. We're also concerned on the west side of our property, we already have a 50-foot easement with a water line that's leading up there. It wasn't made big enough for any future development. And now there's a possibility of, if there's a water tower, we have frontage going across our property. There again, we got 30-foot pine trees that have to be demolished. We don't know the details of what's going to happen, but we know that there's going to be a major line that's going to run along P35 and tie into Fort Callan area. So it's the size of it, it's what can be done with another water easement that happens. And what we found on the easement that we had for water along P33, we were promised that the ground was going to be reseeded and so forth. That didn't happen. When the contractors came in, we had some bad issues. So it's just all of this that's kind of happening. So a lot of the same issues that were mentioned previous happening. Thank you.
Thank you. You're next.
Thanks.
Thank you for your patience. Unfortunately, people in front of you kept standing up.
That's fine. My name's Phil White, W-H-I-T-E.
My address is 9345 County Road P33, the target where you're trying to take land. My wife Bridget is here tonight, that's BRIDGET. I had a realtor come out and give me assessed value of our house about a year ago, and I told her at that time, assess our value at 30 acres, and our house, that other 10 acres, I'm planning on selling off. Well, that 10 acres is where they want to take. That 10 acres, when I retired 2 years ago, and well, about 5 years ago, we bought our land and built our house up here. We had a beautiful piece of ground down in South Sarpy, 20 acres, but we wanted to be close to our grandkids, so we looked for 14 months before we found this land. Well, we've enjoyed, we love the land, but now this is happening. When I bought the land, I took money out of an IRA, paid cash for the land, with the plans of selling that 10 acres to put back in my IRA. So now you're taking away my retirement. The 2 acres or whatever you buy, that's not going to pay for the 10 acres what that's worth right now. That 10 acres is worth a lot of money. Will you be responsible for that whole 10 acres, what it's worth? I question that. What about the depreciation on my house? The same realtor did a study for me, and this is what it says, the first paragraph. The installation of a municipal water tower on or adjacent to privately owned acreage or farm property has significant and measurable negative impacts on homeowner and resale value, buyer demand, lifestyle enjoyment, and long-term marketability. I would like to give this to you if I can, if you guys want to read it. It also says the average values go down 3 to 10%. Being it's going to be on my land, I'm guessing 10% is probably pretty accurate. Nobody wants to live by a water tower. Everybody's made that perfectly clear. All I can say is our whole life, we put our money into that property. And if you devalue it by putting a water tower on it, that's not acceptable to me. Thank you.
Thank you. We need to receive and place on file. Can I have a motion?
What is that document exactly? Receive, place on file, name it.
His report. The report to Mr. White.
I make motion to receive and place on file the report, Mr. White.
We have a motion and a second to receive and place on file the documents presented.
We'll get a copy of that.
Whoops, yes.
Oh, you are, they're just gonna. Who seconded it?
We're just receiving the evidence.
That's all we're doing.
I'm off to the board for that.
Let's go to the board.
We're gonna vote on the board, so everybody needs to use their switch and vote. I feel.
Oh, I think we're just I'm looking for the game show here.
All members present voting aye.
Here, that will be placed on file. Do you have other comments from the public?
So, Whitney Frederick, 622 North 21st Street.
Could you spell your last name, please?
Same as Frederick.
Thank you.
So I was initially going to get up here because I've sat and watched the Southwest meetings that I listened to.
Can you talk louder, please?
When you blighted people's property, I sat here in person, I watched online, and I saw the irreparable damage you've done. But the one thing I noticed is that all the decisions you've made have been on behalf of people that never had a right to vote for you. So I'm standing out as someone that actually had the right to vote. You do not represent me. You do not represent my neighbors. I was going to be kind, and like I said, talk about the breakdown in the community, the erosion of trust, the exploitation of vulnerabilities, but as I sit here and see the words good faith, and then I see land that's been in my generations longer than some of you have been in this community, you're ensuring that I will never see that land. that I will never get the inheritance. I can't afford it when you rezone it, because we all know what's coming. I just want to make it clear, because frankly, you get to do whatever you want, but I want to make a point that you are not representing any of these people. Who voted you in is not who you're making decisions on behalf of. I've listened to things that were brought up that I have known for decades as common sense. Not understanding how ag land is taxed. Not understanding it's just, there's a way of life that you guys don't seem to understand, and you're ruining it. And as I say, you're listening about the housing and who you want to bring in. I'm the generation, I'm the educated, I'm the six-figure income. We don't want to come to this community. I have to go to work and get made fun of by Mo Valley and Council Bluffs, asking why do I live here? And honestly, I can't give a good answer for that anymore. So, again, just to make it clear, as an actual voter, you do not represent me if you pass this. You did not represent me with the annexation. You did not represent me with the blighted communities, nor my neighbors, who I would share their comments, but you asked this to be respectful. And so, just to give you a idea of how the community that voted for you feels. So, to end on one other thing, you have set a very, very dangerous precedent in the damage you have done. Because everyone that lives in this area, we've seen what you've done with the Southwest. They asked us when we sat in that meeting, well, why are you here? Because we're next. Greed knows no bounds. You have damaged the way of life, and there's nothing else I can describe it as contempt for the people that enjoy it and the freedoms that it allows.
Any other comments from the public?
Jim Bradhaupt, B-R-E-I-T-H-A-U-P-T, 9392 County Road P35. I guess I'm same as Whitney there. I don't remember voting for you guys. Why is that?
Because you're not in city limits.
There you go. So why is this in front of the city? Long story short though, I have 4 of the properties on that map. I don't want a water tower on my property, nobody wants to. I guess the only thing that would be good about this is you drive our property values down and lower our taxes. I know exactly how Phil's, I don't want a water tower. But you guys, you need to find somebody who will take it without using eminent domain. That would make everybody happy. There's too much hate and discontent in the world right now.
Thank you.
Other comments from the public?
Can I mention one more item?
Sure, come on up.
Steve Anderson, property value or property address 9477 County Road P35. We live just across from the proposed tower area. Part of what the tower is, it's trying to equal the size that's up along 133 up there. And it's because of the gravity. Has anybody considered doing electric pumps and diverting it some other direction? From what I understand, it's to provide water to Fort Calhoun for future use. They're at a limit. They need it for their fire safety, but it's to tie into the Fort Calhoun water system also, besides the development that can happen along P35. But has the engineer considered doing water pumps? It's just a question, without having the tower. So that's just a comment.
Thank you. Other comments from the public?
My name's Dylan Huff. Address is 8874 County Road P33. Last name's H-O-U-G-H. I agree what he's asking too. Electric pumps, booster pumps. The city of Grand Island, they don't have a water tower at all. That's where I'm originally from. There's no water tower on the city ground. They use booster pumps, holding tanks. They can get the pressure the same way. So I'm questioning also, why is there not another option from putting a water tower in the middle of everyone's ground? Also, is the main size to accommodate more, or is that another option that's gonna have to, come forth? And I agree with everyone else's comments here. I don't want a water tower on my ground. I've been there for 3 years. I grew up in the country, lived in Bennington for a couple of years, found this ground, fell in love with it. The views around is, it's unheard of. And I don't want a water tower looking on my door. I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments from the public?
Everyone, Mike Ely, EHLE, this is Elizabeth. We're at 9050 County Road P33. So on that map, we're just a couple driveways down. Ellie felt very strongly about saying something, but I just want to say, I'm one of the younger guys out there. Myself, Dylan, our buddy Andrew, between the three of us, we have 10 kids. They're all going to be growing up in this community on that street. We're not the ones who moved out here, worked our whole life, and are looking to retire out here. I don't plan to retire in Blair. I'm from Boston, so we're going back east. But what I'm saying is, these generations that are coming up, we're active in this community. We value everything that we're learning from Dave, Dennis, Todd, Mike. Like, it's a great place to raise kids, and that's why we're here. But they're here. This is kind of their, they worked their whole lives to buy this land, to retire, to enjoy it with their grandkids, and to have Phil have to walk out there where that thing's like 100 feet from where his slide is, where his grandkids play. The letter that they got when we met with them, it said, we feel that Site A makes the most sense, and maybe it does for the city to save a few bucks, but it doesn't make sense for any of us, especially Phil. And Elizabeth, you can say.
So, whenever I come home from school, there's that big pasture where the water tower will be going, but there's tons of horses who go there, and I know that it'll decrease all the agriculture and stuff there, and I just know that living in the country, it wouldn't be that good having a water tower, you walk outside and where all this farm and agriculture is, there's just a big piece of metal.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you.
Dennis Bidney, B-I-D-N-E. I live at 9080 County Road P33. We built our house out there in 2012 and got it completed. We built our house for the view. We already have one water tower in our view, and on the foggiest day, the lights from that water tower, you can see them like a beacon. Now, I don't need another water tower a quarter of a mile away, in my view, doing the same thing. You guys light that thing up like a Christmas tree and paint the stuff on it and everything else. And that was there when we bought the property. But I think you can find alternative ways or places to put it, or alternatives on pumps and everything else to run it. The other thing that really bothers me is you guys making decisions and we don't get a vote for any of you. And I understand we're not in the city limits, but we're within your jurisdiction as far as building permits and everything else. We don't get a vote on any of that. You guys make decisions for people that don't get a vote for you. And I think that is not the American way. I think that's, I think somebody eventually is gonna challenge that and figure that out, that you guys making decisions that affect us because you can is not the American way. We should be able to vote for the people that are on this council and to voice our opinion through our votes. Thank you.
Other comments from the public?
Tracy Hipner, we live at 9160 County Road P33. Again, we're very close to the water tower. It's pretty much across HIPMAR. And it's across the street from us. The only thing I would say is, of course, we would prefer to not have it there. Something underground that is more like what Nyhart Park has would probably be better. And again, there's enough topography there. I think that could be an option. Also speaking from experience, my parents live a house away from the water tower on 133, and it has affected them. It has affected their quality of life, their being able to be outside, and property values as well. So just wanted to bring some of those things up. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Other comments from the public?
Dave Shank, SCHENCK, 9253 County Road P33. I'm another one of the neighbors. I'm just south of Phil, and I guess I'm here to support the neighbors. And once again, I was really too crazy about the idea of having that huge water tower, in our little neighborhood, in our community. So I'm not one of the sites selected, but if I was, I would definitely be, not for it at all. And it's hard for anybody to have it anywhere. We just, our little community, or our little neighborhood, just, we really are against it. And I'm just here to support our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? In the back?
Didn't expect me to do this. Not dressed appropriately. I'm Megan Swope, SWOPE. I reside at 731 North 12th Street here in Blair. Obviously have no stake in the game. But I just had a question. So I saw HDR Engineering probably did the study. I didn't see the form. But do we have any other engineering companies look at this or give any other proposals? Okay. So I work for a company here in Blair. Capital project accounting is my career. And whenever we do capital projects, we don't go with one person. We bid it out. We have multiple engineers come and look at our projects. And I just hope we can afford the same respect to these people who live out in that area and not take one engineering company's word for this is the best solution. We've had ideas about pumps, different things like that, but at least afford them doubt and maybe have another engineering company look at different locations, different solutions before you make your decision, which sounds like it's pretty soon. So just an idea.
Thank you. Other comments from the public?
Bill White comes in here. The word is that a lot of this water is going to go to Fort Calhoun. And I find it coincidental that one of the people carbon copied on all these letters, Koenig, with HDR, is from Fort Calhoun. Why don't they get their own water tower? Why are we responsible to have it here for their water? They're over there by the river. That's a question you guys got to answer, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other comments from the public? Any comments in writing? last chance. Anybody else? I will close the public hearing. Item number 16, consider resolution 2025-145 for acquisition of property by negotiation or eminent domain. Water and Sewer Committee.
I don't think we met on it, but I'm not in favor of this at all. So that's my stance on it, for the reasons that have been presented. So I don't know what, that's just where I stand on the resolution.
I would agree with Kevin. I'd like to see if there's any less intrusive options, such as visiting possibly a water tower similar to what we have up at Nyhart Park, something that's not going to be out there lit up as much of a visual intrusion as what the typical water tower would.
I also agree when this was first brought between the council, before the council.
Could you speak up, please?
I'm sorry, when this was first brought before the council, mentioned the various sites, but not about any alternate possibilities for different designs and so forth. So I think that's certainly worth exploring.
Yep.
Motion to table?
Postpone.
Postpone. Make a motion to postpone resolution 2025-145.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to postpone resolution 2025-145. Please register your vote.
And Mayor, I might mention, just so people understand, so postpone basically means that it will be at a future meeting sometime. It's not set for a certain date, so we can't tell you exactly when. Keep an eye on future agendas. We're not going to have a second meeting in December, so it wouldn't be until January sometime at the earliest.
So I have a question. You talked about communication in good faith. What about communicating with those of us that we were put on the map as a potential site? Why can't you send something to us in writing, letting us know when the meeting is and the time? Why are you making it a burden on me to keep track of what you're doing? Someone should have been talking to me about this.
There's zero good faith in trying to pursue eminent domain without notifying the property owner.
Yeah, and we can talk afterwards. Obviously, we've got an agenda that we need to stick with. By state law, we can't just start talking about different things that aren't on the agenda. So I think go ahead and vote for this. Obviously, if you stay afterwards, or please come in, give us a call. Obviously, we're stuck at times with needing to just do the kind of notices that the state law requires, and that's what we end up doing. We try to do through our social media, though, to let people know what kind of items are on the agenda. So this is not a debate, just trying to inform you. But let's go on with the meeting, and again, we can talk sometime in the future. So do you want to mention the vote again? Sorry, because I got it.
They're voting for postpone.
Right.
But, yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
is it
Two
still,
postpone.
did you have two boxes pop up?
Yes.
All members present voting aye.
Item has been postponed. Item number 17,
You want to do the kids?
we'll take a short recess.
Oh, there they go. You sign, Kate?
Hey, if you need, high schooler, do you need?
You sign?
you contract for services with Washington County Chamber. Mr. Green.
Thank you, Mayor, council members, and Mike Brooks, Executive Director for Gateway Development Corporation, is going to come up and join me as well. Let me just talk a little bit from the city's perspective about what is in this agreement. And I want to be very clear to you, clear to the audience, and clear to our friends at the Chamber, that this is not about shifting responsibilities or just dumping things on anybody. That's never been the intent. What we really want to do is try to clarify the good working relationship that we've got with them right now and make it very, very clear, especially on the 3 large community events that happen on a regular basis, and make sure that those are well stated, and especially when it comes to Tannenbaum and how that's kind of changed over the years and continues to grow, how we would like to see them help more with that particular event as well. So you've got for a service agreement, and I just want to stress again that in the state of Nebraska, municipalities aren't able to pay dues to service organizations, but we are able to do service agreements with them so that funds are for the services that are delivered. And so that's what we're looking at here. There's a recital section, a definition section. In the definition, we clearly describe the 3 main community events that we're looking at: Gateway to the West Days, Tannenbaum, and then again what I've described as our community fireworks display. I don't want that to be confused with the fireworks stands that are located around town. Those fireworks vendors that sell at the fireworks stands all have to get a license from the state of Nebraska and a license from the city of Blair.
$5,000.
Correct, and it's a fairly hefty fee. Of course, they make a pretty good profit, with those as well. But we use those funds then to funnel into the actual fireworks display that is launched historically for us usually on July 4th. So it's that July 4th celebration. There hasn't always been a lot of other community activities that go on that day. We just wanted to stress here in this agreement that that's a possibility, and it really kind of is up to the chamber on how they would like to do that if they're interested in doing something like that. We've got more facilities around town where certain fun things could happen. Maybe there's a concert earlier in the day that's out at Generations Park. Maybe there's a pickleball tournament. Maybe something's going to happen at the art alley that would kind of tie into the 4th of July. Again, a wide variety of different things that might be beneficial both for the community and for the chamber. We talked about the compensation that's in here. This is based upon what was budgeted for us for this current fiscal year. Keep in mind, our fiscal year goes from October through September, and so we're really kind of laying out plans in the middle of the summer on what we're thinking we're going to be doing. All of the funds for this come from the hotel motel occupation tax that the city has. So as we continue to grow and may end up with other hotels sometime in the future, that continues to generate more and more income for us. So this is just a small part of the annual income that comes in. But the philosophy, especially with occupation taxes, is that you kind of want to use that revenue to support the thing that it's coming from in the first place, which is tourism, and trying to see more and more people come to town and have Blair well known. Well, we established this fairly early on at $30,000. Can't imagine why Mike would want more, but he may ask for a little bit more and have really good reasons because of what's going on with the chamber and the good activities that they're doing. And we know as a staff that it's up to have the ability to hire highly skilled, qualified, motivated individuals takes resources, and then to be able to provide them the kind of benefits that allow you to be able to keep them obviously take resources as well. This is a 5-year agreement, but there was nothing magical about the 5 years. The way it's written right now, it's 5 years and would continue to roll forward year after year, but can be canceled by either organization with a 90-day notice. We can change that time period as we desire to. Pages 2 and 3 kind of lay out then the different activities that would be expected from the chamber, but the city's going to continue to be a participant as well. Especially when it comes to all of these community-wide events, there's oftentimes things that really the municipality is the only one that's able to do. Close some of the roads, barricade some of the roads, be able to move around trash cans, picnic tables, those kinds of events, or those kinds of items that are needed in various places. This does give them, under 4G, the ability to coordinate, schedule, and manage all of the art alley activities. They may choose to, charge some fees for vendors at times. That would all be revenue that would go back to the chamber for the good work that they continue to do here in the community. I provides one spot on the chamber board as an ex officio member. Oftentimes I'm able to go to that. If not me, then one of our deputies usually is able to attend there as well. And then it lays out under section 5, the city's obligations. Any questions for me? Otherwise, I'll have Mike speak for a little.
Thank you. Mr. Rooks.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Mike Rooks, ROKS 11961 South 113th Avenue, Papillion, Nebraska 68046.
Thank you.
Gateway Development. First of all, thank you for city staff for putting us after 15 and 16. We appreciate that tonight. We at the chamber, myself, Gateway, have talked to the city about this for quite some time. This is a great agreement. We like everything in here. The biggest piece, as Phil mentioned, was the compensation. We really were looking to go start with $40,000 and then stair-step it up from there. Because exactly what Phil said, we have Nikki. Nikki's an outstanding director. She came in about 5 months ago and she's guns a-blazing, doing great things. We just hired our full-time events coordinator as well. They're both highly skilled, but with high skill comes higher wages. And we need to make sure that going forward, the chamber has enough funding in their budget for certain things. And we believe that $40,000 to start out with is where we need to be. So we can keep going. So we can keep going from that and maybe even hire another part-timer, another full-timer, if these events get any bigger. And that's not saying this is the only revenue we're trying to get. There's other ways to do it. But Nikki being new to this position, it takes time. You know, I always say economic development is a process, not an event. Change is a process. It's not an event. It's going to take 18 months for us to get the books and everything where we want them to be in the chamber. But this is one thing that will help us get get that direction. Any questions for me?
You said $40,000?
Yes.
It's written 30.
Yes.
I don't know when I need to make the motion to amend, because we did have a discussion.
This is done.
Yeah.
So yes, we've had that discussion. It does say 30 on here right now, correct. Does anyone else have questions?
In agreement.
We do have the chamber director and the board president here. If you have any questions for them as well.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions for anyone else? Any comments from the public?
I have one question. Betsy Anderson, 1235 Pinewood Drive, AMDERSON. Is the chamber not funded by the businesses that are chamber members? Is there no income coming from that?
There is.
There is.
And it isn't sustaining?
I don't think it is provided in the past the level of revenue that they need to hire the people that they feel can really help lead that organization.
I say that because my husband was a chamber director here back in the early 70s, and I don't remember the city ever, obviously, entering into any financial agreements. It was strictly by the merchants who belonged to the chamber and received the benefits from it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Having none, Finance Committee?
Meet on this. I think we're in agreement that 40,000 makes sense, but we do want to change it from a 5-year to a 1-year contract so that we can reevaluate it, see if 40 is enough, see if 40 is going to do the trick. So we're in agreement. We'd like to amend the contract to reflect that.
Where shall we amend it?
So make a motion.
Just make a motion to amend.
Yeah, so if you wanted to amend both the dollar amount and the time frame, it's on page 2. So you'd be under 4.8. I think it's 4. No, sorry. Definitions number 8 on top of page 2 to change that $30,000 to $40,000. And then under number 1 in the next subsection with the agreements, change that 5 years to just a 1-year. Again, it says we'll renew on a yearly basis. Obviously it would if you didn't take action next year, but kind of emphasizes that you really want to evaluate it next year And we'll have, more conversation as well as we get into the summer months preparing for our budget next year. I think I only said half of what I wanted to say about the budget. I mean, again, ours is a budget from October through September's. The chamber functions more on a calendar year budget, and so now they're kind of finalizing things, getting ready for 2026. We've already got, numbers established by then, and so we want to try to work a little bit better together next summer.
Thank you. So, can council member adopt resolution, but not as presented, just adopt with the following amendments?
Or do you want an amendment that they vote on and then vote on the
I want an
amendment?
amendment that they vote on, and then vote on the amended resolution.
Okay.
So you need to make a motion to amend the contracts in those two areas. Contract definition, compensation, number 8, amended to 40,000. And the term on the next subsection, agreement shall be for 1 year as compared to 5.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to amend the agreement to 40,000 and 1 year. We're gonna have to go to the board. Okay. Please register your vote.
So we vote for clerk also.
All members present voting aye.
The amendment motion passes. So now, would you like to make a motion to
Make a
adopt?
motion to adopt resolution 2025-146 as amended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 2025-146 as amended. Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Item number 18, consider resolution 2025-147 approving budget authorization, budget authorized police vehicle 1, 2026 Ford SUV unmarked administrative vehicle purchasing through the state bid from Anderson Ford in Lincoln. Chief Kinsey.
Evening, Mayor, Council, again, Chief Kinsey. This is an item that I brought during budget workshop and was previously approved in the budget, but it's for adding to our fleet for the command vehicle administrative ranks. And this vehicle was purchased off the state bid. If there's any questions, I'm here to answer. It's pretty simple.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Any comments from the public? Having none, Police and Fire Committee.
We met on this, it's a good value, it's $37,000, only has 1 cylinder.
And a
Which is good for the chief, we don't worry about him getting tickets or anything. So if there's not any questions, I'd like to introduce resolution 2025-147.
Resolution number 2025-147 was introduced by Councilmember Heifel, approving budget authorized police vehicle 1 2026 Ford SUV unmarked administration vehicle purchasing through the state bid from Anderson Ford in Warren.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 2025-147 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2025-147. Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Item number 19, consider ordinance 2601, authorizing the issuance of water system revenue bonds, series 2026A, for the city of Blair, not to exceed $26 million. Mr. Green.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm going to have Mark come up here in just a minute and talk a little bit about both of these items as well. But 19 and 20, both are related to existing SRF loans that the state has let us know they have additional funding available so that we can continue the 2 different projects that were being done. Item number 19 deals with the infamous industrial water main that is close to being completely finished. But we had some additional cost overruns because of the redesign and some other things like that. So it was an additional $2.5 million that would be added to what that loan would be, to a total bringing it up of $5 million. And then item number 20, I'll just mention, is going to be on the lime solids outfall and intake structure. Intake structure is completely done, that one's all finished up. But the lime solid basin, as well as then the outfall that goes into the river, we've talked with you previously and had some engineering designs approved and some things like that because of some assumptions that were made that weren't true assumptions on where certain manholes were located and then the pipes ended up being too short. And we continue just to have some various issues involved with that. So there was an additional $10 million that will be added to that particular loan. Both of these then are funded out of the water fund, so not based on property taxes, but on water rates. But the good thing is, again, extended over a long period of time, and because of the fact that roughly 75 to 78% of this water usage is from our industrial partners, that's where that revenue ultimately really is coming from. 75% or so of this will be paid back through those contracts over time. We've seen those rates increase slightly over the last several years. You've built in a few small progressions, but by the time this work is all done and the financing really kicks in and we start paying back those first initial payments on the bonds, we'll continue to readjust what those rates may need to be sometime down in the future. But the good thing is with a utility, you can set the rates, and you just have to have the commitment that says, I'm going to set the rates at the level that I need to run the system. And the people that use it are the ones who end up paying for it. So, Mark, why don't you come on up and you can answer any questions that they have on the two particular issues. Obviously, the first one here being number 19, which again is the industrial water main.
Mark Hudson, Operations Superintendent. I wasn't told I was going to talk about this, but if you have any questions, sure, fire away.
No questions? Okay.
All right. And
That
then,
makes it easy.
yeah. Really good job, Mark. Yeah. Nice job.
Do we have any comments from the public? Having none, Water and Sewer Committee.
I guess I'm the only one here, maybe that was there. But, yeah, so, obviously just giving us some room to finish up these projects. So there's no questions on ordinance number 2601.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance of a water system revenue bond series 2026A of the city of Blair, Nebraska, in the principal amount of not to exceed $26 million in the form of a promissory note issued to the evidence indebtedness to the Nebraska Department of Water, Energy, and Environment, approving the form of said bond issued as a single promissory note and related amendment to loan agreement pledging and hypothecating the revenues and earnings of the waterworks plant and water system owned or to be owned by the city for the payment of said bond, providing for the issuance and sale of said bond, authorizing the delivery of said bond, an amendment to loan agreement to the Nebraska Department of Water, Energy, and Environment, providing for the collection, segregation, and application of the revenues of said waterworks plant and system, determining that interest on said bond shall not be excludable from gross income for purposes of federal income taxation, providing for the disposition of the proceeds of said bond and ordering the ordinance published in pamphlet form.
I move the statutory rule regarding reading on 3 different days be suspended for consideration of said items.
Second.
Question.
The question before the council is, shall the statutory rule requiring reading on 3 different days be suspended? Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye. An ordinance authorizing the issuance of water system revenue bonds series 2026A of the city of Blair, Nebraska, in the principal amount of not to exceed $26 million in the form of a promissory note issued to evidence indebtedness to the Nebraska Department of Water, Energy, and Environment, approving the form of said bond issued as a single promissory note and related amendment to loan agreement pledging and hypothecating the revenues and earnings of waterwork plant and water system owned or to be owned by the city for the payment of said bond, providing for the issuance and sale of said bond, authorizing the delivery of said bond, and amendment to loan agreement to the Nebraska Department of Water, Energy, and Environment, providing for the collection, segregation, and and application of the revenues of said waterworks plans and system, determining that interest on said bond shall not to be excludable from gross income for purposes of federal income taxation, providing for the disposition of the proceeds of said bond and ordering the ordinance published in pamphlet form.
I move final passage of ordinance number 2601.
Second.
Question?
The question before the council now is, will ordinance number 2601 be passed and adopted? Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye.
I declare ordinance number 2601 duly adopted. Item number 20, consider ordinance 2602 authorizing issuance of water system revenue bond series 2026B for the city of Blair not to exceed $5 million. Mr. Freeman.
And we'll just ask if there's any other questions. I did make a mistake though, that I switched around these two based on the dollar amounts, but I'm gonna blame it on CJ's memo because he had them backwards on here. So that was the larger amount, obviously the $26 million one, which went for the lime solids and all that work, but more down by the water treatment plant. This one, number 20 now, is for the total of $5 million, adding the additional $2.5 million for the industrial water main.
Thank you. Any comments from the public? Water and Sewer Committee.
Met on this. Yeah, I think Phil summed it up pretty good. So since there's no questions, I'll introduce ordinance number 2602.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance of a water system revenue bond series 2026B of the city of Blair, Nebraska, in the principal amount not to exceed $5 million, in the form of a promissory note issued to evidence indebtedness to the Nebraska Department of Water, Energy, and Environment, approving the form of said bond issued as a single promissory note, and related amendment to loan agreement pledging and hypothecating the revenues and earnings of waterworks plant and water system owned or to be owned by the city for the payment of said bond, providing for the issuance and sale of said bond, authorizing the delivery of said bond, and amendment to loan agreement to the Nebraska Department of Water, Energy, and Environment, providing for the collection, segregation, and application of the revenues of said waterworks plant and system, determining that interest on said bond shall not be excludable from gross income for the purposes of federal income taxation, providing for the disposition of the proceeds of said bond, and ordering the ordinance published in pamphlet form.
I move the statutory rule regarding reading on 3 different days be suspended for consideration of said ordinance.
Question?
The question for the council is, shall a statutory rule requiring reading on 3 different days be suspended? Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye. An ordinance authorizing the issuance of a water system revenue bond series 2026B of the city of Blair, Nebraska, in the principal amount of not to exceed $5 million, in the form of a promissory note issued to evidence indebtedness to the Nebraska Department of Water, Energy, and Environment, approving the form of said bond issued as a single promissory note, and related amendment to loan agreements pledging and authenticating the revenues and earnings of waterworks plant and water systems owned or to be owned by the city for the payment of said bond, providing for the issuance and sale of said bond, authorizing the delivery of said bond, and amendment to loan agreement to Nebraska Department of Water, Energy, and Environment, providing for the collection, segregation, and application of the revenues of said waterworks plant and system, determining that interest on said bond shall not be excludable from gross income for purposes of federal income taxation, providing for the disposition of proceeds of said bond, and ordering the ordinance published in pamphlet form.
I move final passage of ordinance number 2602.
Second.
The question for the council is, shall ordinance number 2602 be passed and adopted?
All members present voting aye.
I declare ordinance number 2602 duly adopted. Moving along. Item number 21, consider resolution 2025-148, approving the purchase of 2 traffic camera systems. Mr. Hudson.
Mayor, Council, Mark Hudson, Operations Superintendent, City of Blair. Okay, yes, before you have, we're looking at getting a couple traffic cameras, which will be counters. We used to use a tube counter. The guys would have to get out in the highways, streets, and anchor these tubes down. those broke and we started using companies that come and do a traffic study for us at about $5,000 a study. So you see, we're gonna get two to be a year subscription, a year warranty, and the total cost would be $20,389. And you can use them when you want, as many times as you need. They'll be on a pole. The guys are not gonna have to get out on the highways and anchor anything into the streets. A lot safer. One camera can catch 4 lanes of traffic. So this would definitely be a great asset for us.
I think a 2-year subscription, correct?
I
I think you said 12 months, but I think
Yeah, I just see 1 year subscription.
they had it down for 21, 24
But I do
months
see
for-
here for 24 months, 25 to 27, so you're correct here. So yes, 2 year.
Mark, are these the same ones the state uses as
Yes,
well?
the state NGA, yes. So, picture of them, be attached to a pole.
Can we use it to take pictures of the trucks that are running their Jake
We
brakes?
can count whatever you want. We can count people, we can count.
I want to take pictures of trucks running their Jake brakes.
Well, that's the question I have. Will these cameras be used in conjunction with law enforcement activities? For example, surveillance, traffic enforcement, evidentiary?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, we don't.
No.
We're looking for traffic counts, is what we're doing, as for utilities.
I think what's nice with these is that they can distinguish a car from a motorcycle, from a bicycle, from a semi-truck, so their accuracy is spot on.
I did like also reading it that, if we want to put it on, say, on the city trails, we kind of get an accurate number of how many people are utilizing them, they're using for that sort of
This
purposes.
is walking, people biking, all that stuff.
Any other questions for Mr. Hudson? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments from the public? Transportation Committee.
We did meet on this. As Mark explained, it's a good asset for us. We're not going to be going through those over counters. We're not going to be paying a third party to come out and do our traffic studies. It's recognized by the state, so the numbers that it comes up with are going to be utilized as such. So if no one has any questions, I'd like to introduce Resolution 2025-148.
Resolution number 2025-148 was introduced by Councilmember Clark, approving the purchase of 2 traffic camera systems.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-148 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to adopt resolution number 2025-148. Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Item number 22, consider resolution 2025-149, approving the purchase of a new utility truck for the utility department. And Mr. Hudson, before you begin, could I ask-
I'd like to make a motion to receive and place on file the bid for the purchase of a new utility truck for the utility department.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to receive and place on file the bids for the purchase of a new utility truck. Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye.
Motion passes. The floor is yours, Mr. Hudson.
Okay, yeah. Terry's in need of a new truck. He did go out and he got 2 bids, Sid Dillon and Blair, and Woodhouse Ford and Blair. They will be trading in a truck. It looks like that Woodhouse Ford had the lower bid of $64,917.87 versus Sid Dillon at $65,231.87. So Woodhouse Ford would be where the truck would be coming from. Any questions?
It'll be getting the box. The box would come from Total Truck to go on complete. That's why it's 65,000.
Yeah, there's a page there for, they'll be putting a utility box on it.
It was my understanding from earlier, we discussed this when we were looking at budget, that they will also be capable to put a snow plow on the front.
It will have snow plow, correct. Yep.
Most departments like it.
All of our trucks, yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Hudson? Thank you. Any comments from the public? Having none? Water and sewer committee?
Yeah, we did meet on this. You know, we talked about this in the budget, right? Funds are coming from the water fund, using the low bid. I mean, if there's no questions, I'll introduce resolution 2025-149.
Resolution number 2025-149 is introduced by Councilmember Letcher, approving the purchase of a new utility truck for the utility department.
Motion to adopt resolution 2025-149 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to adopt resolution number 2025-149. Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Item number 23, consider resolution 2025-150, approving city administration to enter into a fee agreement with Adams and Sullivan for the purpose of continuing ongoing litigation. Ms. Ferrari.
Good evening again, Mayor and council members. Only an hour more to go. We do have a fee agreement to enter into with Adams and Sullivan. They've been working with us on some litigation issues that we've been experiencing, and because of a change of status, we need to approve a new fee agreement with them. So if you would evaluate that, we'd appreciate it. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Thank you. Thank you. Any comments from the public? Having none, Judiciary and Real Estate Committee.
Yeah, we did meet on this.
She'll answer, man. Wow, a lot of meetings there.
Yeah, we did meet on this. Yeah, we're just entering an agreement. So, I mean,
They've been providing adequate satisfactory service
Yeah.
so far, so we just might as well continue with them, have continuity, so we don't have a new firm come in and get up to speed.
so I'll introduce resolution 2025-150.
Resolution number 2025-150 was introduced by Councilmember Letcher, approving city administration to enter into a fee agreement with Adams and Sullivan for the purpose of continuing ongoing litigation.
Motion to adopt resolution 2025-150 is presented.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to adopt resolution number 2025-150. Please register your vote.
All members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Mr. Green. It is
Thank you, Mayor.
9:03.
I will not be taking 55 minutes to do this, so thank you very much. Just a couple things real quick. We are approximately 1 month into BSNA implementation. Just want to let you know that I think things are going relatively well. Not perfect by any means, but they rarely ever go perfect when you're implementing something this complicated and this past due in many ways. We have started utilizing purchase orders, which we had suspended since we were generally doing purchase orders at the time that we were paying for something, which is not the way you're designed to do it. So we're actually utilizing the software the way it's intended to, with requisitions, purchase orders. Then once those purchase orders have been approved and we're waiting for the items to be delivered, those funds have been encumbered. We can see what those numbers are so that we know that you don't try to spend a dollar that you really have obligated already. So very excited about that. We have new processes that are coming, such as work orders, and so we're just starting to do that process. I will tell you that some of our frontline guys in the public works are so excited to be able to have some electronic stuff to be able to work on when it comes to the work orders. But they're being good chaps and working with us on all that, so we're excited about that. And even more is coming, good chaps, because inventory is coming. And Terry's really excited about inventory because utilities is going to be using that a lot. But it will help us a lot when it comes to just ordering, keeping track of various items, both from the utility standpoint as well as our water and wastewater plants. So again, thank you from the staff to all of you for your good support, because this is going to help us to be more efficient and effective, and ultimately that's really our job, is to serve the citizens of Blair as efficiently and effectively as we can. Very excited to let you know that this coming Friday we will be interviewing 4 excellent candidates for the new Deputy City Administrator of Operations position. It's been a long time. We've slowed down a little bit because of BSNA implementation, but we whittled it down to 4, and we'll be interviewing them on Friday, and very excited to continue to move forward with that project. Probably anticipate sometime in January, having them here, depending upon who's selected. Could be early January, could be late January, depending on those that may have to leave other positions, again, depending on who's selected. Finally, then, I just want to let the audience know that we're going to be going into an executive session here. According to the agenda, there is nothing else on the agenda after the executive session other than adjournment. So you're not going to miss anything, we're not going to talk about anything, and then come out and secretly vote on anything. The only thing that will happen will be adjournment at the very end. And I will say that we've moved finally all of our code enforcement people over, including the people that were back in what used to be a long time ago, like decades ago, an actual conference room that we had here. And we're in the process of evaluating what furniture we want to get, what equipment we want to get in there to turn that back into a conference room someday. So the day may come, if we have an executive session and there will be voting afterwards, that instead of us shooing the people out of this room, we will leave and go up to the conference room, which is the way it used to be done many, many moons ago. So excited to see that project continue to go forward as well. Does you have any questions for me?
I do.
Yes, sir.
Make a comment real quick. We had an officer graduating from the academy on Thursday.
Yay.
And I really encourage you, anyone who wants to attend the ceremony, to please go out and do it. Get with the chief, he can give you the particulars. It's really a cool ceremony and to support our officers.
In Grand Island?
In Grand Island.
Yeah.
So that's really a good thing. So, thanks, man.
Thank you.
He's gonna drive his one-cylinder car up there.
He's leaving tomorrow.
He'll get really good mileage.
Troopers won't catch me.
All right, item number 25, executive session for the protection of the public interest to receive legal advice regarding negotiations to protect attorney-client privilege.